Hi, I'm Vicki Stark. I'm the author of Runaway Husbands. And today I wanted to talk with you about how to deal with an ex who is aggressive or belittling or making life difficult for you. And I know that that might be the case for a lot of people, that when you have to deal with your ex, particularly if you are co-parenting together, and so you have to deal with him on a regular basis, or you have things to talk about in terms of property or the divorce or those kinds of things. And that he approaches you with a belittling or negative demeanor, and then you respond and you try to explain yourself, and you try to help him understand your point of view. And then he doesn't listen to that and he just makes you feel worse. And then you defend yourself and you end up feeling really, really bad. So recently I heard about this new thing, which is called the gray rock method, which you may have heard of. And the idea behind the gray rock method is that how you respond to him will eventually start to change the dynamic between him and you, so that he likes getting a rise out of you. He likes upsetting you. He likes putting you down. He gets a charge out of it. And if you could start to change the way you respond to him so that your behavior is more like a gray rock, meaning that you're there, but you're not going to have emotion. You're not going to have an emotional response. You're not going to put your heart and soul into crafting the perfect email that will help him understand your point of view, because it's not like he's going to get your email and say, "Oh my goodness, you're right. I had never thought of that. Absolutely, we'll do it your way." That's not going to happen. So you're putting a lot of emotional energy into trying to explain things to him and defend yourself. And it only ends up making you feel more demoralized and, and more devastated. So what I'm going to suggest is that when he comes at you with unreasonable demands or requests that you're not comfortable with, how you respond to him is not going to be in an emotional way or even in an argumentative way or a defensive way of trying to help him understand your point of view. Because probably when you think back in the history, it's highly unlikely that he's going to really hear what you have to say, and take it on and adjust himself, to help you achieve what you want to achieve. So instead of using those emotional responses with him, what I'd like to suggest is that you just state your position. And then when he tries to dissuade you or give you arguments, or that rather than being defensive, you go back to stating your position. So let me give you an example of that. Let's say he wants to change the co-parenting situation for spring break. And it's your turn to have the kids for spring break, but he wants to take them somewhere. And so he's telling you, that you have to give them to him, and that, and that it's not fair, and that you had them last year at spring break or whatever. He's giving you different arguments, and that you're so selfish, that you always want the kids, and that it's not good for the kids to always be with you all the time, or whatever negative thing he's saying to you. And that you're just, rather than say, no, but you don't understand. I didn't have them last year. You're wrong about that. And no, I am good. Rather than you trying to refute what he has to say, you'll just say to him, "I'm sorry, Lloyd. No, I have the kids for spring break." And then he's going to try to convince you 10 other ways. And you're just going to sort of bat away all of his arguments and say, "No, I'm not changing things this year. I have the kids for spring break. That's already been decided. It's not being changed." And so you're just straightforward and you're not engaging in the whole emotional back and forth about things. And that I know will be very hard for you to do, probably, maybe not necessarily, but probably, that it's hard to just state your position, to say no, and he might escalate then and get more angry and more belittling, at which point you can very simply say, look, this is not a productive discussion. I just want you to understand, I do have the kids for spring break and I'm going to get off the phone now, because I don't think this is a healthy or productive conversation. And then you hang the phone up, but you give him warning. You don't just slam the phone down. And so that means you working on yourself so that you can manage your own emotions and stay with the topic, not be drawn down the rabbit hole discussing your faults and why he's right and why you're wrong and all of this stuff. And so this is a technique, this gray rock technique, you can Google it and learn more about it, that you can use with an aggressive, an abusive, a belittling, a narcissistic ex-husband, who is really not open to a real negotiation with you and a real discussion with you, but just sort of wants what he wants, and it just tries to wear you down, and upset you to the point that you're going to give in, and it disempowers you. So what I'm looking for you is how you can empower yourself. And one thing I want you to always remember is that calm is strength. If you can stay calm and stay focused on what the topic is and not let it devolve into a personality belittling, then just stay calm and stay strong and stay steady with what you're requesting or the way you want things to be. And if the conversation goes off the rails, then get out of there in a respectful way and say, yeah, sorry, I can't continue this conversation. I'm going to hang up now. We'll talk about it some other time. And so that way you can use your muscle, be strong, and not always be in this role of trying to convince him, of defending yourself, of trying to give him arguments that he is never going to accept. So I know you can do it. You go, girl. And that's what I want to talk to you about today.